Welcome. It's Cheryl Miller here. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia, and today I'm creating a clean and simple card project for the Creating Kindness design team blog hop. Some of the other design team members have also created videos, and I will put the links in the video description below. This is the card that I'll be creating today. It's quite simple, using the Welcoming Window stamp set and die bundle from Stampin' Up! This stamp set has lots of individual smaller elements, which is great for creating a focal point on your card, but also leaving lots of white space, which is a feature of a clean and simple card. This is the stamp set, Welcoming Window, and the coordinating dies are the window flower box dies. Here's the card again, and we'll just take a quick look at the inside, which is just a repeat, a smaller version of the outside of the card. Let's have a look at the inks that I've used. For the bricks I've used Sahara Sand, and for the terracotta pots Cajun Craze is perfect. Then for the floral elements, the foliage, I've used three greens: Garden Green, Shaded Spruce and Pear Pizzazz. I've also used Shaded Spruce for the sentiments, and the flowers are Polished Pink and Bumblebee. I've got a white folded card. This is basic white, thick in standard size, and I'm going to stamp this beautiful little brick element in Sahara Sand. Now I'm going to stamp it off twice. I want it to be quite a light shade because we're going to stamp our pots directly over the top. So continue stamping the bricks. They're quite easy to position because it is photopolymer, and I want to create a straight, it's not really a horizon line, it's more like a skirting board line, I guess, where the bricks finish to define the brick wall from the ground underneath. I'm going to continue up for a couple of rows of the bricks. I have flipped my stamp around for this second row so they don't look so uniform. And then I'll just do a couple more up at the top here, remembering to stamp off twice. And one more, and that should do it. So that's going to be where the elements sit on my card. While I'm here, I'll do the inside while I've got the ink pad and stamp out. And again, that's just repeating in a smaller fashion, so less stamping on the inside, this bottom right hand corner. And that looks pretty good. Next up, we'll stamp the terracotta pots. Now there are three in this stamp set. They're different sizes, different shapes. So I've popped them all onto blocks. I've got my Cajun Craze ink, and we're going to stamp directly over the top of the bricks. This is a much darker ink, and because we've stamped off, you're not going to be able to see the bricks through the Cajun Craze ink at full strength. So that's my first pot. I'm going to sort of angle them down the card, going from largest to smallest. Pop one of these large ones on the inside as well while I've got it out. Moving on to the second size, and you can see that I'm just positioning these along so that the base of the pot is in line with the base of the bricks. I've put them a little bit apart because the foliage that's going in them is quite large, so we don't want them to crowd each other out. This is the smallest pot. I'm going to put one on the outside and one on the inside. Now there is one stamp in this stamp set. It's one of the foliage stamps, and it's a very cute little right-angled sort of succulent image. That's this one here. And it just sits over the edge of the pot really well. You can also sit it on the window ledge. I've popped it up on a block. I'm using the darkest ink, Shaded Spruce. I'm just going to position that, very easy because it is photopolymer. Isn't that cute? It's perfect. Love it. Now I'll do one on the inside as well. Now for the rest of the foliage, I'm actually going to stamp onto some scrap basic white cardstock because we are going to die cut the rest of the flowers so I can pop them up over the top of the pots. So I've got a couple of sheets of scrap here. I won't need all of this. There's two different sorts of foliage, and then the flower, it's a two-step stamping process, so the flowers just stamp into the foliage. So we'll do the first one in Pear Pizzazz. So one of the lighter greens. This is going to go on this middle pot, and then the larger stamp will go on the larger pot. So I'll just need one of those because we only going to put one of these on the outside. But for the second one, which I'm going to stamp in Garden Green, I will need two, one for the outside and one for the inside. And you can see the little holes in the image are where the flowers sit. Let's zoom you in a bit, that's a bit better. So now we can go ahead and stamp the flowers into the foliage. So you'll be able to work out which one goes with which by counting up the holes basically. So surprisingly, the large group of flowers goes on the smaller group of foliage, and I'm using polished pink. So you just wriggle this around till you find where it fits. But I can give you a tip. These little tiny flowers go in the top right hand corner, and then just line them up till they fit over the holes in the foliage and stamp down, and you've got an instant beautiful little bunch of flowers. Very easy, very quick. For the second pot plant, I'm going to use Bumblebee for my flowers, and this one, if you just wriggle it around, this tiny little flower goes in this tiny little hole down on the bottom right, and line it up and stamp it down. I'm working over the top of my camera here, so it's a little tricky to get my head positioned correctly without being in the camera view. And there we go. Isn't that great? Now I'm going to use the dies to die cut these. If you don't have the dies, you could always fussy cut these flowers. They would be quite easy to fussy cut, but if you do have the die bundle, then there are two dies which cut out the foliage, the flowers. So we'll just go ahead and position them, run them through your die cut machine. Now I have done these previously, so I'll just bring those in. So there's my pink ones and the two yellow bunches of flowers. And these are going to sit over the pots like so. I'm just going to glue the polished pink pot plant down with regular liquid glue. You could use Stamp and Seal if that's your preferred method of gluing, and so that's going to sit a little just flat onto the card front. And then this one is going to be popped up with dimensionals just to give it a little bit of extra height. I'll do the one on the inside first, which will be flat. We won't put dimensionals on the inside of the card. And that just sits over the top like so. I could probably trim that little tiny piece off that's sticking out there. I'll just do that now. There we go. So that's the inside of the card done, and then this one will go on the top here with dimensionals. Now before I pop this up with dimensionals, I'll put the sentiments on the front of the card. So I've got this very long one which says, "Wishing our paths crossed a little more often." I'm going to stamp both sentiments with shaded spruce, the darker ink. So I'll just ink this one up, do a little test to make sure I've got it on the block straight. It looks pretty straight to me. It does tend to curve, this stamp, so you need to make sure that you get it straight on the block. And that one can go just down underneath the pots. Beautiful. And then the second sentiment says, "My sweet friend." So, "My sweet friend, wishing our paths crossed a little more often." And that one can just go up to the left there. It's just, I've just stamped that slightly over the bricks. So now we can go ahead and pop this little bunch of flowers up with a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals. And pop it onto the pot like so. It should just fits nicely in there. And that is the finished card. Very quick, very easy, but it makes a stunning card. Here's one that I created earlier for the photos. I've also gone ahead, if you check out the video links below, I have gone ahead and created some other clean and simple cards using this bundle. So this is one using the windows, and this is one where I've created a door. Still quite quick and easy, just a lovely little trio of very clean and simple cards for the Creating Kindness Design Team blog hole. I hope you've enjoyed the video today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.